Hey everybody, welcome back to Our Healer, Our Protector with Ryan Reichert and Lisa Sander. Lisa's not here today, but I have the pleasure of being with Ishan Shivanand, and he has the practice of immortality. I love this. A monk's guide to discovering your unlimited potential for health, happiness, and positivity. And Ishan, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, here we are this week or whatever with Ishan, and it's amazing. So, over Arizona here, but can't beat this Arizona weather, and come from Minnesota, and Ishan lives in California, so it's awesome from the Bay Area, and has a couple of authors. I think about my first book, God Only Knows, and the Devil Comes for You, A Second Chance at Life. I know for me, I've had my ups and downs in life, but I love, as I just read through your book this past week, how each one has a meditation practice at the end of the chapters, and just page through here in chapter 4, the end of it, it's sit comfortably and close your eyes, relax your body, and observe your thoughts in silence. And when it comes to like this book in itself, putting a book together is quite daunting, and knowing with your background and being a monk and so forth, can you take us through that journey, however it got you here, so on and so forth.
The need of the book that I thought was, first, I wanted to share my story because I see in the West a lot of people benefit from yoga, meditation, but rarely do we know where these modalities come from. And a lot of the times, people confuse these modalities as if they belong to a certain religion, not understanding that these modalities are a pathway to finding the higher self, God consciousness.
Yes.
And that connection with divinity is most important because I'm a mental health researcher as well. And yoga means union. That's what it means. It doesn't mean exercise. It doesn't mean stretching. It doesn't mean making yourself a pretzel. It means a process through which you control your breath, mind, body, and you connect with something. So a lot of the times people do non-theological. They don't want to connect to anything. They have this ego that I'm enough. I don't want the higher self. I don't want to have a relationship with God. So they practice this and they get the physical benefit. And many times we ran the data, we ran researches with thousands of people, and we found people who do these activities in a non-theological manner, they get a benefit, but not that long-term impact that we are looking for. And whereas people who drop their ego, who are ready to listen to the inner voice, who are ready to connect, they get phenomenal results and their life changes. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to share that pathway with people, irrespective of who they are, where they are coming from, in which country they were born. Everybody deserves a relation with that divine. And this is my way of trying to help people.
Yeah. No, I love it. I think about it as Ishan just so eloquently put it. I mean, for me, as we were talking before we started filming, with the Army, we do CrossFit, it was like what you do. And the last 2 years of my life, I do yoga, and it is, for me, it is finding that higher self, my higher power, God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit for myself. And, as the two of us sit here, we can talk about that spirituality and that oneness with that higher power. We're not going to sit here and fight about religion. We're not going to argue about the dynamics of it. We realize that we elevate, and we're just two spirits connecting to the highest spirit of them all.
And that is the most important thing, because debate on religion happens when we don't know the spirit.
Yeah.
That's when we read something and we have to fight about it. But when we have experienced the spirit, we have allowed it to enter into ourselves, then there's no debate.
Yeah.
Then we are both brothers in divinity.
Yeah. I love it because you talk about pride or ego.
Yes.
And you think of sin, and the greatest of them all is pride. And that dynamic, I think for me, in the silence, I've learned, today that I love peace and serenity and silence. For you, knowing your background as a monk, and others, I know the dynamics. If Lisa's here, she'd be curious of would you go how long, in silence? I've done a 3 or 4 day retreat in silence, but for you guys, as your profession, right? What does that kind of look like?
So it was hard and it can go on for months. And why it is hard? Because the mind runs away from itself. And there are so many issues that are buried inside and we don't want to face them. And there are so many distractions around us. So we are busy and we think we are enjoying life, but that's not enjoyment, that's numbing, that's not relaxation, that's running, that's hiding. And when we are in silence, then all these, in Sanskrit, it's called Manas Putra. It means unconscious thought babies, these monsters that we have created. They jump out. Our own fear, our own anger, guilt, resentment, and it looks at us and we find that we are alone. And that's when we have to have something to fight back. It could be our spirituality, it could be our meditation. But until and unless we don't resolve these thought babies, then they are going to pull us back on our journey. We want a good, happy relationship, they pull us back. It's like you're going on a nice vacation with your kids, and lovingly, kids make life a bit tough. Sure. Now imagine if you have these thought babies, your own emotions that you created unknowingly, your own experiences, and they distract and deviate you from your goals, then life is just circles. So silence allows us to look at ourselves, do this self inventory, and help us come to a point of balance, peace, and relaxation.
Oh, I love it. Visualizing and thinking about, as you talk about the mirror versus the window.
Yes.
And I know for myself, like I always talk about, pull your invisible mirror out of your back pocket and, kind of give that inventory of, where in your body, where in your soul do you feel maybe pain or regret or whatever that looks like. And, leave it in yesterday, don't bring it into today, and sure as heck don't think about it for tomorrow. And can you kind of just share with the audience, like from your perspective, because I love how eloquently you put it in the book, just from the mirror side of it versus the window, because the window is what allows you then just to not think about all of those pain and points and so forth.
The window is what we can become if we look at John the Baptist and how he takes and puts somebody in the water.
Yeah.
And when the person comes out of the water, he's reborn.
Yes.
And then the Holy Spirit enters as the baptism. You have to go through that water. It is that metaphor. It is that rebirth. And if you don't go through that rebirth, you don't dunk yourself into that spirituality, that surrender doesn't happen, then nothing will happen. So a person needs to go from that mirror to window, because if he's stuck in his own thought processes, in his own do's and don'ts, in his own judgments, in his own loops. And the crazy thing is, I remember once I was working for this doctor, he was a cardiologist. And this really obese gentleman comes to the cardiologist, and this gentleman, he was a rich guy, he had a lot of ego, and he believed in integrative healthcare. So he thought, he'll juice his way out of his diseases, etc. And he was very firm on his beliefs, and he didn't want to have any medicine and this and that. And he's telling the doctor that, I know what you're going to say, but I'll take this kale juice and this and that. And the doctor's listening. He's the top cardiologist. And he just looks at that guy and says, how long have you been sick? And the guy says, I've been sick for almost 20 years. And the doctor says, for 20 years, you had your knowledge and you're still sick. For 6 months, try mine. So you can't be stuck in your loop and then expect different things to happen. If you had that brain, if you had that awareness yourself, you would have come out of it. Many times I work with people who are in AA, and that's the part that even the big book message is, that allow the divinity, allow that there's something bigger than you, that there's something stronger than you, and you have to have that surrender to the higher self. And that's what the window implies. Letting go.
I couldn't put it any better. I'm a recovering alcoholic and prescription drug addict, and been sober for almost 2 years. God willing. Thanks, sir. And when you say that, it is so true. Like, it probably took me, a year to completely surrender myself to it and understand that, I had a spiritual awakening at roughly 60 days into my sobriety. And, it was like, wow, this is amazing. I want more of this, right? But like, you have to truly get to that surrender point before it's like you're going to have the Holy Spirit literally. And I went through it where my faith, like in spirituality, I was rebaptized finally this past spring. And once that happened, and that was about February, and I reflect on it, it's like, wow, that was like the washing away of everything, the purity, just, and wow. I mean, for those out there, Ishan and myself, like just this moment, because none of this is ever scripted out here. This is literally hop on a plane and meet each other. And to come to that for me personally is just like the divine side of like, we work with the same folks and like the points that you get through to try to go like, this is like, I don't know what the right word I want to use, but like through the surrender, that resurrection that happens basically. But it only perception versus perspective, like for me, I grew up in a small town. It's one of those sides, like I could never get away from it. I had a chip on my shoulder about like all the people, all the things. And that was a me problem, And so I look at it to where today, just like you're talking about, fixing someone for 20 years with their health, they could only see it one way and not all the other ways that are out there. And so to that end, I guess, what are some other things that you would love to tell our audience through your practices, through your writing, through your yoga immortals? Like, what are other areas that, to help them? Because that, I think that's what we're always looking for, as our healer, our protector. Well, Lisa and I, we're always looking about like, how can we help others? How can we heal them? How they can protect themselves through their healing? What are the other nuggets in here that I'm missing?
Many times when we are looking at people, because I work with a very broad demographic group, the cultural background, and as I said, the intrapersonal loops, even though we want connection, sometimes we don't get it. That is why sometimes we need pathways. We need something tough. Like you said, in the military, you did CrossFit.
Mm-hmm.
CrossFit was a process and the goal was fitness. In the same way, our goal is connection and the pathway is meditation. Many times I see people, they have this blockage that meditation belongs to certain geography or certain sects or religion. That is not true. Meditation is a path, and every single enlightened being that has walked on this planet, who has found divinity, has had to walk the path of meditation. So every spiritual person who is on a quest of self-discovery, I suggest to them that they must master meditation and yoga. And when I say yoga, again, this is not the yoga that we see in Planet Fitness. It is a very different pathway that I'm talking about, and it's very practical because this is mastering your breath, this is mastering your central nervous system, this is mastering your thoughts, emotions, and awareness. If we cannot master our awareness, then the devil will take us. And we have to be alert, we have to be aware of what we are, where we want to go, our goals.
Sure.
And that's what yoga teaches us to master. And that's what I try to explain in the book through my own journey.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. We got a little bit of time left, and I'm just thinking about, is there a 30 to 60 second practice right now that you could kind of do for all those listening or watching out there that we could just, a quick, how do we, I know how I get myself there, but kind of for everybody else from your perspective, like what's the quick, I'm in a thought spiral, the kind of the doom that we face, like, hey, the car didn't start this morning. I'm late for work now. My bank account doesn't have any money into it. I'm going to have to pay for the car to get fixed or tow, like all these things. What's something, a quick reset that folks out there listening can.
So we go to John. This is a very powerful meditation because in yoga, it's like all interconnected.
Right.
So this is from where the Holy Spirit always enters. And this is in all theology. So if you look at ancient theologies, it is one. So this is the place you focus upon and you visualize the energy of the higher self, the positivity. And then 3-point breath. Inhale with a 3 count, 1, 2, 3, and visualize that from the head to the heart, all the way down to the feet, the divine energy is filling me up. And then when you exhale, 3, 2, 1, you feel that you are letting go of everything, all your pain, all your suffering, all your emotions that you're carrying in your heart, and you're letting go from your feet to the heart and from the head to the Holy Spirit, to the divine. You are surrendering. When you inhale, you receive the light. When you exhale, you surrender to the light. And we do this 5 times with my 3 count breath. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, deeper, deeper, my friend. Exhale, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Exhale. Visualize 1, 2, 3. Surrender 3, 2, 1. Receive 1, 2, 3. Release 3, 2, 1. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Exhale 3, 2, 1. And we end with gratitude and compassion.
Wow. I mean, I'm just good to go now. I could run through a brick wall.
Let's do it.
I love it. It's pretty special just thinking about, how we've connected through life, through people we know, and so on and so forth. When I think about you connecting with our folks out there in the world of our healer, our protector, like where can they find you? Where can they get, you got to love it. The practice of immortality, a monk's guide to discovering your unlimited potential for health, happiness, and positivity. I mean, I just really want to I have my copy, but like, how do they get a copy? How do they get in contact with you, stay in contact with you? What's that look like?
So the first thing I would recommend is, if you like reading, you can buy the book. It's available wherever books are sold, and practice. And if you feel the practice benefits you, then I'm sure the divine will connect us together somewhere in the future.
It's so very true. I love it because Ishan speaks just from my same heart, even though he's a brother from another mother kind of thing. It's just one of those where it's divine, this connection already. And, we both speak very similar. It's just from different sides of the world, how we were raised and so forth. And it's still the same. Yes. The Holy Spirit's still the same. And so thanks everybody for checking in with Ryan and Lisa today. Like I said, ourhealerourprotector.com is where you can come visit us. And we look forward to connecting with you next Tuesday. So much love, much gratitude. And thank you, Ishan, for a lovely interview.